All right, we love. All right, Shalom.
Shalom. Shalom.
First and foremost, want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Akakodash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone that taught us this truth, and Shalom to the hopeful elect, the Akim and the Aquaf scattered around the four corners of the planet Earth. All right, this is GMS Dallas. I'm the brother Iraq, and I got the brother Tasha with me, and then I also got the brother Malak.
Shalom.
All right, that's available as well. All right, and we just wanted to hit the button, man. Wanted to hit the button, like we always say. There's a lot going on, okay, but that's not just a saying. That's the real deal. There's tons happening. You just had the Trump Putin meet, right? What, yesterday, last night, right? You got developments in between China and Taiwan going on. Still got the war in Ukraine. Still got Israel, continuing the Greater Israel Project, right? Destabilizing, Syria, Lebanon, Iran, right? Matter of fact, I was watching something yesterday, and it was going into the Israel-Iran situation and how basically Israel is about to go into their next phase, because we know the last time it was like big in the news was when the U.S. had dropped that payload over the nuclear site. That was like the last big development in the news. But they're saying that this next phase is getting ready to pop off as well. And all these things have economic implications. All these things got social implications, right? Which is a fancy way of saying life here in Babylon the Great is getting ready to change drastically. And as the title of the lesson, is going into, it's an excerpt from Habakkuk 3 and 2. In wrath, remember mercy. Okay. Because as we see, going on here in the States, Esau's getting ready to come down with great wrath. ICE had 100,000 applicants, signing up to tackle you niggas, man. To gun you niggas down, man.
And that's specifically for niggas.
Yep.
All right. And all right. So nigga is a broad stance now. All right. Yes. It's for mostly you so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native American, of Negroid descent, because in today's time, they see that they see and you see, being in the midst of your own people as the problem.
Mm-hmm.
They're really trying to take America back to the 1919s and 1912s.
Can I get a precept for you?
Sure.
You can speak on it. This is Jeremiah 30 and 7. It says, "Alas, for that day is great, so that none is like it. It is even the time of Jacob's trouble, but he shall be saved out of it."
But Jake, you so-called black Latinos and Native Americans, of Negroid descent is going to be delivered from the said perils to come. But all this has to happen. All this is prophecy. All right. This was noted to us in a book that these things will come.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And just like it says in Second Ezra 15, because there's a whole chapter on it. All right. There's several chapters on it. All right. Holy hell is coming. All right.
Yep.
But in that holy hell, the elect few is going to receive mercy.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Was that Wisdom of Solomon? And Wisdom of Solomon 3, where it talks about grace and mercy.
Yeah.
It's to his saints.
That's Wisdom of Solomon 3.
You mind finding that?
I got it right here.
And I had some real quick, and Malak, if you got anything as well. Mm-hmm. This is I'm gonna grab this just to lay the foundation. This is Revelation 12 and 12. It says, "Therefore rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devil is come down unto you, having great wrath, because he knoweth that he have but a short time." All right. And that devil that is talking about, right? What does the word devil mean? The word devil means a deceiver. All right. A liar. Okay. And who's the primary deceiver on the planet Earth, man? Esau. Okay. And that's not even a dark saying. you know. But I wanted to get this word wrath real quick, right? Because you know, it goes into the title. And wrath, remember mercy. This word wrath in the Greek, Strong's G 2372, thymos, all right? And it says passion, angry. It says heat, okay? Things are getting ready to get hot, and they already are hot. Just ask some niggas in DC.
Oh yeah,
that Trump activated the the federales on, man. All right, but that's coming to a city near you as well. Okay, it says anger forthwith boiling up and soon subsiding again, fierceness, indignation, okay, rage. All right, and these are all words that are describing the environment that you finna be living in. All right, and it's going to primarily be executed by Esau, these Edomites. You know, you got something, you found it?
And like it's going to be directed towards the nation as a whole.
Exactly.
Okay. Yep. But the elect is going to be separated from that as well. You know, in the same step. You know, because holy hell, hey, judgment comes from every side. Man. You know, but if you have a covering, Yahweh Shemel Shai is with you every step of the way. All right. But this is that Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 3. I'm going to start here in verse 9. Mm-hmm. You know, it says, they that put their trust in him shall understand the truth, and such as be faithful in love, you know, so like and such as be faithful in love shall abide with him. Mm-hmm. You know, for grace and mercy is to his saints, mm-hmm. and he has care for his elect. Yep. So Yahweh Shemel Shai has this whole time has always had a favorite. All right, and his favorite are those that keep his commandments. Mm-hmm. You know, those that keep his will. You know, and does the righteous acts.
Yeah. If I may add to that, those that keep this ministry, those that keep Yahweh Shai, you know, and I had something to back it up. 2 Corinthians 4:1. Therefore, seeing we have this ministry, yep. as we have received mercy, we faint not. You know, and this ministry is an extension of mercy that we've been granted with, you know, having these the access, if you will, to men that have direct, you know, communication with Yahweh Shai, man. Mm-hmm. That direct communication with that Yahweh Shai prayed for. You see, mm-hmm. like that's not taken for granted, man. You know, and you're in these men's prayers. You see, so yeah, we need more mercy to come. You know, but I'll read verse 2.
Yeah, if I may make a point on that too, like when you get that word mercy, it goes into compassion.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. You know, and I was reading when you read you know, Matthew 5 and Matthew 6, after John the Baptist was beheaded, it like showed, the scripture showed how Yahweh Shai, he was in a very compassionate, he was that event, you know, it moved him, you know, not because he just got baptized by John, you know, in the previous chapters.
Right.
But it showed how the Lord, he had compassionate on his disciples and his followers, you know, and that's when he was going into the Beatitudes and he was teaching them, you know, because the Lord is the power of balance, you know, like we're going into the judgment, we're going into the wrath, but for the elect, as the brother just pulled in that Wisdom of Solomon 3, the Lord is going to have compassion and mercy upon the ones who have been obedient, you know.
Yeah. Should I get a precept for you on that?
John, I didn't want to steer you too much off.
No, that was pretty much, and that's a beautiful point to go into because, like you said, bro, it's balance. You know, judgment often is, you know, you look at it as one side, but you know, judgment also is a gift, you know, a present as well. You know, you get to say, I hope you get what you deserve can be a curse or it can be a blessing. You know, but this is Sirach chapter 5 verse 6. It says, and say not his mercy is great, he will be pacified for the multitude of my sins. For mercy and wrath come from him, and his indignation rests upon sinners. Yep. So like you was going into mercy and wrath. both sides of the coin come from the Most High, man. Yeah,
and I wanted to get on that point that you made, going into how mercy is for those that are in this body, you know, because this is the house of Yahweh Shemi Al Shai in these times. Okay, this is the house of David.
Yeah.
All right, and and with that said, you know, Yahweh Shemi Al Shai wants you to have mercy upon your brother. Okay, you know, if he shall slip, you know, mercy is having you there to lift him back up. All right. So can I pull this?
Oh, sure.
This is
can I finish this off?
You
keep going. Back in the 2 Corinthians 4:2, and because it's going into this ministry, like you were saying, we have this ministry that's also, of course, the handling of the truth, but also the application of that with the handling of how your conversation with brothers, you know,
conduct.
Your conduct. But 2 Corinthians 4:2, but have renounced the hidden things of dishonesty, not walking in craftiness, nor handling the word of the Most High deceitfully, but by manifestation of the truth, commending ourselves to every man's conscience in the sight of Yahweh.
Beautiful.
Well, it's like, could you read it again?
It says, but 2 Corinthians 4:2, but have renounced the hidden things of dishonesty, not walking in craftiness, nor handling the word of the Most High deceitfully, but by manifestation of the truth.
See, and see that handling this word and these steps like you're still in the world, you know, being a nigga, you know, and that's what these niggas are about to get, you know. They're about to receive judgment, you know, because they have been walking in their own pride. They have been walking, you know, as someone who is ignorant, you know, and Bible shot. Go ahead and finish it out.
Yeah. And that goes for the people, not people that just was involved in the world, but to the people that have tasted part of this.
Oh yeah,
you know, like certain men that crept in unawares.
Yep, like Booty Warrior.
Yeah,
you know,
that's what I was just thinking about. That.
Peg head.
You know,
just thinking about that. That's a prime example of handling the word of the Most High deceitfully.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. And Coley out about you shy that he fit that role, but somebody had to.
Yeah.
Somebody had to. You know, but Bible shot. Finish it out.
It says, but by manifestation of the truth, commending ourselves to every man's conscience in the sight of the Most High.
You know, and so our conscience, our anastrophe, you know, is going to be steadfast on how about Shemel Shai. You know, in this, you know, that's mercy. That's mercy to have a mind to think, you know, of the goodness of Yahweh Shemel Shai, you know, and then having a body and eyes to see it being played out, you know, as well. That's what this whole thing of ours is for. All right, is for that and our development, you know, our growth. All right,
yeah.
But I was going to pull that Sirach chapter 37 verse 12. It says, but be continually with a godly man whom thou knowest to keep the commandments of Yahweh Shemi Shai, whose mind is according to thy mind, you know, and will sorrow with thee if thou shalt miscarry, you know, because that's mercy in itself, all right, and that's just in the realm of the body, you know, because mercy is shown, you know, whenever you have someone, you know, next to you who probably have gone through the same thing that you're going through right now, and they have experience and they can assist you to get through it and to overcome it. You know, that's mercy.
Yeah.
You know, but
I got something to go with that. This is 2nd Ezra 8 and verse 49. I'm gonna read down to verse 51.
okay.
It says, "In that I gotta start at 48.
Yep.
It says, in this also thou art marvelous before the Most High, in that thou hast humbled thyself." And this is the angel talking to the prophet Ezra,
You're
or Uriel, the angel Uriel. Yep. It says, "In that thou hast humbled thyself, as it becometh thee, and hast not judged thyself worthy to be much glorified among the righteous." And that's the reason why we doing. That's for the reason why we do these videos, man. These are pleas, these are cries, these are prayers. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
You read certain scriptures and it seems like it's a prayer. That's because it is a prayer.
Hey,
You know,
because we need help. You know, we need help. All right, we need Yahweh Bashim Shai.
Yep.
Okay, and that's to say because you will feel, well, you are unworthy because your worthiness is as a filthy rag or a menstruous cloth. Okay, and that's disgusting. You know, but it's like,
yep. It says, verse 49. It says, "In that thou hast humbled thyself, as it becometh thee, and hast not judged thyself worthy to be much glorified among the righteous. For many great miseries shall be done to them in the latter time that shall dwell in the world."
and that's what we see, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is what we see to come.
Mm-hmm.
We see this place going down like screaming.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I was just watching a nigga, the nigga on Facebook Live yesterday. The nigga got killed on Facebook Live. You saw that?
Yeah.
But it was nigga, like it says in the precept, because they have walked in great pride. And the spirit that was on that nigga, he had a proud ass spirit on him.
Yeah.
And I don't know the backstory. I don't know all of that shit. That's neither here nor there. But the spirit of pride, angels are when the Lord let these death angels go,
Bro,
they're gonna be looking for that spirit of pride, man. And they're gonna be going in, you know. And that's why again we throwing up these lessons, right? In wrath, remember mercy, man.
you know, because
But were you making a point, Salaki? I'll finish this out. It says, verse 50, "For many great miseries shall be done to them that in the latter time shall dwell in the world, because they have walked in great pride. But understand for thyself," and this is going into your point. It says, "But understand for thyself and seek out the glory for such as be like thee." You know, going into the precept that you brought out.
Yeah.
You know, you should really be concerned with the men of the Lord. You know what I'm saying? The body.
Huh.
You know, the individuals that are actually, you know, displaying the fruits of the spirit.
Displaying Yahweh Bashim Shai.
Exactly.
You know, and me, I'm just going to say it like this. In there's a slack in a battle. You know, if there's a battle between two armies, there's this thing called the phalanx system. It's what the Greeks or the Spartans used, where one shield covers another man's shield, which covers another man's shield, which made it tight knit.
Yeah,
impenetrable. You know, so whenever you have a man or have a brother, you know, he's covering your flank. He's covering you. All right. So it's just like in this truth. All right. We were all put together by Yahweh Shemiah Shai to work on each other's strengths and to cover each other's weaknesses.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
And that's all this thing is. This thing is to assist your growth as you walk in your day to day, but it's also to increase in your spiritual, you know, mindset, you know, in this wicked kingdom, and that's mercy. All right, the sure mercies of David. All right, David was a man of war. Okay, how did he conquer? He had a band. He had friends, you know, in his army that, you know, that assisting him in taking down these other kingdoms.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so all this is set up for our the deliverance, you know. But Shalaki.
Mm-hmm. You got something?
Yeah, if I could say too on that system that you was talking about, there was a bit of every man's shield
Yeah.
The next man, you know.
Huh.
So, you know, we all need, you know, mercy from every brother. We all need some sort of defense, you know, and it starts too with taking accountability, of course, with what you've done wrong,
Yeah.
but also being able to know that we've done wrong from the outside, you know.
Yep.
I did have the account of David.
Con, I got something that goes into what you just said.
Con.
This is let me see. This is Psalm 51:3. All right, and this is that Psalm 51.
Yeah.
You know, it says I'm gonna start at verse 1.
Let's start up.
Right, because this is important too. You had mentioned David a minute ago. Mercy is tied to David, the sure mercies of David. You know, and this being the house of David that the Lord is raising up in the latter days, which is the actual governing body of the world to come. You know, mercy starts with that organization, that body. You know, but this is Psalms 51. It says, to the chief musician, a psalm of David, when Nathan the prophet came unto him after he had gone into Bathsheba, have mercy upon me, Yahweh Bashem Yahushua, according to thy loving kindness, according to the multitude of thy tender mercies, blot out my transgressions. Mm-hmm. All right. And that's the spirit that we come in. All right. That's why you see a more balanced approach when, you know, GMS specifically, but, you know, when we teach the scriptures say establish the law, and we do that. Okay. But there also has to be a realization that we are in a fucked up situation, and that, yes, we try to keep the law, statutes, and commandments to the best of our abilities, but guess what? Our environment is completely polluted. You know, so everything that we do here is going to be, it's really about faith, man. Okay, and your intent. I'm gonna read. You want to make a point?
Well, I was just going to maximize on that because we're living in a worst case scenario.
Right.
All right. This is not. This shouldn't have been on the damn fucking scale, but Yahweh Shemiah Shah made it so, just so we can understand how merciful He is. Okay, but
if I might say too, for context, like, you know, you got a lot of new listeners or maybe listeners that haven't really heard or understood what the sure mercies of David actually is. You know, like because that's the word that we bring it out a lot. Yeah. You know, but
I was gonna get
the sure. Well, yeah, that's what I'm holding for you.
Mm-hmm.
But read the verse 1 again.
You mind getting Con? Oh, actually, no. We get that. That's fine. Read verse 1 of Psalm 51.
Yeah.
This is Psalm 51:1. And I was gonna say too, and I was reading Matthew 14 goes into that too, where the Lord brings up that account in second Samuel. But it's Psalm 51:1. It says, a psalm of David when Nathan the prophet came up unto him after he had gone in unto Bathsheba. Have mercy upon me, Yahweh Bashem Yahushua, according to thy loving kindness, according to the multitude of thy tender mercies, blot out my transgressions.
Right. So this is right after he had gone into Bathsheba, which we know Bathsheba also had King Solomon as well.
Yeah.
You know, but this is when his first child had died, which we're gonna get. Lord willing, we get the account. But you can keep going on that if you want.
Con, I'll read down to verse 3 and then we can get into that. It says, wash me thoroughly from mine iniquity and cleanse me from my sin. For I acknowledge my transgressions and my sin is ever before me. Right? So if you want mercy, you better acknowledge your transgressions. You ain't getting mercy if you ain't acknowledging your transgressions. But what's heavy about it is we can't even acknowledge all the transgressions that we do because we don't even know all the transgressions that we do. So it forces you. It literally, the Lord set it up to where it forces you to Yahweh Shai, because he's the only one that really knows. You know, he's the one giving the mercy and forgiving sins, pursuing to Matthew 9. And that's a large reason why they wanted to kill Yahweh Shai too, because Yahweh Shai was making those statements that he could forgive sins. You know, and them niggas was in their feelings about it. You know?
Just like I said, man, Exodus chapter 23, verse 20, you know, going into how it says, "Behold, I send the angel before thee to keep thee in thy way, and to bring thee into the place which I have preserved, you know, which I have prepared." It says, "Beware of him, obey his voice, you know, provoke him not, for he will not pardon your transgressions, for my name is in him." You know, going to Yahweh Shai Shai, because he's the only one that can pardon, you know, the transgressions which you did, which is mercy. All right, and he gives the ultimate mercy. But you got it.
That was all I had on that.
Okay, and if I may add to what you just said too, which is a comfort,
that
we have someone watching us. You know, that we have some sort of protection or some sort of promise, you know, for us to get to the destination or to where we're headed. You see, that was always the case with the miracles. You know, that was always the case when, you know, the Lord showed signs. It was a promise that it would happen. You know, we have the promise of that it would happen through this ministry, through this knowledge. You see, but yeah, this is 2 Samuel 12. And I'm going to start at verse 1, but I'm going to read in the NLT. It says, Nathan rebukes David. So the Lord, Yahweh, sent Nathan, the prophet, to tell David this story. There were two men in a certain town. One was rich and one was poor. The rich man owned a great many sheep and cattle. The poor man owned nothing but one little lamb he had bought. He raised that little lamb, and it grew up with his children. It ate from the man's own plate and drank from his cup. He cuddled it in his arms like a baby daughter. One day, a guest arrived at the home of the rich man, but instead of killing an animal from his own flock or herd, he took the poor man's lamb and killed it and prepared it for his guests. David was furious. As surely as Yahweh Ba'ashem Shai lives, he vowed, any man who would do such a thing deserves to die. He must repay 4 lambs to the poor man for one he stole, and for having no pity. Then Nathan said to David, "You are that man." Right. So David, here it is. David, you know, had committed adultery with Bathsheba, and you know, in this parable, he's likened unto the rich man who killed and slaughtered his the poor man's, you know, lamb by taking his woman and committing adultery with him and then slaying him, you know, in battle, having him killed.
Yeah.
Right. But here he was a hypocrite by not offering mercy when he would want to receive mercy himself. And that's where you get the Psalms 51 prayer from, where, you know, he was ready to, you know, go ahead and commit his judgment, but Nathan had revealed unto him that he was that man. You see, But then later on in this chapter, or matter of fact, let me read a couple more verses after here. It says, and Nathan said to David, "You are that man. The Lord Yahweh and the power of Israel says, I anointed you king of Israel, and saved you from the power of Saul, and gave you your master's house and his wives and the kingdoms of Israel and Judah. And if that had not been enough, I would have given you much, much more. Why then have you despised the word of the Lord and done this horrible deed? For you have murdered Uriah the Hittite with the sword of the Ammonites and stolen his wife." Okay, but I'm gonna jump down to verse 13 through 17. Really, it confesses David confesses his guilt. You know.
Yeah, and that was the Psalm 51.
Right.
Where I acknowledge my transgressions.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and the thing is, even after you like going into, even after you acknowledge your transgressions, the Lord still got every right to kill your ass.
Yep.
Well, yeah, he had judgment. Which, if I could read, yeah, I'm gonna read this in the KJV, but this is verse 16, and it's back in 2 Samuel 12. And David therefore besought Yahweh for the child, and David fasted and went in and lay all night upon the earth. Right, so he was, depressed.
Yeah.
He was very conflicted in the spirit. Going through it, man. He laid on the ground. He was in mourning. You see, it says, and the elders of his house arose and went to him to raise him up from the earth, but he would not. Neither did he eat bread with them. So he was fasting. Couldn't even eat. He was so hurt, distraught. It says, and it came to pass on the seventh day that the child died. So he watched his own child die. His first, one of his sons. See,
that was judgment, though.
Right. But then he was offered mercy. Yep. Because who did Bathsheba's womb bear after that? Mind you, this is some time. But this is 2 Samuel 12 and 24. And David comforted Bathsheba, his wife. You see, he had comforted his wife, because he knew and had faith that the Lord would have mercy on him. Because and he was shown mercy from Nathan, because true, of course, you commit adultery, you're supposed to die.
Yeah.
And really our nation's history is a byproduct of the Lord judging David. Because from David getting judged, you had what? You had the split.
Yeah.
And from the split, you had all manner of hell and infighting and civil war between the Northern Kingdom and Southern Kingdom, which led into more history.
And it leads to what we see right now.
Exactly.
Because Jake still don't deal with Jake.
Exactly.
It's how about Shimei Shai is healing up the breaches.
Yep. Yeah. And in the midst of all that, that's a heavy point. In the midst of all that, the Lord gave us Solomon.
Yep.
He gave us Yahweh.
Yep.
You got it up.
Yep. He gave us Solomon. Which we're going to read. We'll get into it. Verse 24 says, and David comforted Bathsheba, his wife. Mind you, comfort, right? That word comfort. Mm-hmm. It says, and went unto her and lay with her, and she bare a son, and she called his name Solomon, and the Lord loved him. And he sent by the hand of Nathan the prophet, and he called his name Jedediah, because he was of Yahweh's, And that's what Solomon's name was at his birth, was Jedediah, which means beloved of Yahweh, So, that's the mercy that we hope to receive. Right? When we talk about the sure mercies of David, we hope to receive that. And we've been comforted that the wife has been comforted through the word, man. Mm-hmm. The wife has been comforted of this promise through the word. Now the Lord is supping with us. And from result, what we're about to see enter into this realm or break into this matrix or break into this womb, if you will, is Yahweh Shah all over again, man. Mm-hmm. And that's where our mercy is.
Yeah, magnified.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You want to bring that up? You want to bring that up? You want to bring out what you got?
No.
Okay, that was a beautiful point. That kind of sums it all up. Yeah. Really, I got a closer, and then we can close it. This is Romans chapter 9.
Can I say something real quick?
Mm-hmm.
Bathsheba means daughter of an oath as well. The Lord made a promise. You see. So
Bayaf is what it is.
Bayaf house. Yeah. Bayaf house. Shaddai. I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So Shaddai is to swear, to take an oath. So it was, these things happen, but they were also representations of what would happen in prophecies in the future. On a larger, on a magnified scale as well. You see.
Yep. This is Romans 9, 15 to 16. It says, for he saith to Moses, I will have mercy on whom I will have mercy, and I will have compassion on whom I will have compassion. So then it is not of him that willeth, nor of him that runneth, but of Yahweh Bashem Yahushua, that show of mercy. You know, so hey, you know, that's the spirit that we're coming in, man. All right. So Lord's willing, you know, this lesson was edifying. Brothers got something from it. I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushua, Ba'ashem, Makakwadash. Double honors again to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone that taught us this truth. And shalom to the next lesson.
Shalom.